It is Thursday, the 1st of August, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Jesus McCreesus, I've been doing this for 3 months. Holy shit. It's felt like forever, and also it feels like I only started last week. That's not true. But it does feel like I've been doing this for ages. It feels like I've been doing this all year, like I had originally intended to. Anyway, today we're talking about another artist who I only really know one thing by, but I like that one thing enough that I want to get into the rest of their stuff, so it's a good in, and that is the artist Flyte. It is a band. It was originally founded by two guys called Will Taylor and John Supran. Then Nicholas Hill and Sam Berridge joined later. John Supran and Sam Berridge are no longer in the band. I don't know what the story is there. Again, I don't know much about this band, but currently it is Will Taylor and Nicholas Hill. This current incarnation of Flyte released an album last year called Flyte, would you believe? And on it there is a song called Tough Love, featuring Laura Marling on guest vocals. I first heard it. I had heard Flyte's name, but never listened to them. You know, there's a lot of English bands that you'll hear of in Ireland, but I wouldn't necessarily know them. And then they did an acoustic session version of this song with Florence Pugh on the Laura Marling vocals, and it was on the Mahogany Sessions, which is a YouTube channel I subscribed to like 10 years ago. And occasionally they'll pop up in my feed again and be like, oh yeah, man, there's some really good Mahogany Sessions out here, and I've discovered some great music through it, like this, for example. I don't know if it's one of those things where, you know, it was the first version, so it's the version I prefer, but I actually prefer the version with Florence Pugh, and I'll be linking it below, and you should listen yourself and compare. But also, they do very different versions. Laura Marling's version is quite high, Florence Pugh's version is quite low. Anyway, we'll talk about that when we actually listen to the song. So let's go listen to the song now, and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. It's such a short, I mean, it's not like super short. I've talked about shorter songs in here, but it's 3 minutes, and it feels like it's just a good length, I think, for the kind of song it is. I think it works quite well. On Flyte's YouTube channel, they have a whole documentary of the making of the album, and they also have each song in separate videos. So there's a 10-minute video on the making of this song, the recording of it. It's great if you're interested in recording techniques and stuff and how things develop from demos. Great thing to watch, not a waste of 10 minutes. So the song itself, obviously just kind of relatively simple sort of sound to it. Acoustic instruments, lovely harmonies, and then of course the cello is great in this song. Samuel Ng is the cellist in this song. You see him in the documentary. And then of course Laura Marling's vocals. So Laura Marling, another one of those British singers who I've heard of, but I've never really listened to. Well, I feel like I listened to Alas I Cannot Swim at some point, but I really don't remember it. But I remember liking any Laura Marling that I had heard before, but I do not remember any of her shit. And yeah, she's good in this song. I mean, she's a good singer. And what I was saying about the Florence Pugh version, so again, that's linked below if you want to go listen to it. Laura Marling's vocals are, I've been feeding you fear. It's up there, whereas Florence Pugh's doing like, I've been feeding you fear. Much lower in the register. And I kind of like her voice for it better. I think what would be really good is if someone did an edit of all of the voices together, but I don't know if that would really work. But I like the low vocal energy that she brings to it. Now, this is probably going to be a pretty short episode because there's not much written about this song, and the lyrics are relatively simple. We're just going to go through them now. I've been trying to hurt you. I've been holding you tight. I've been learning to love you. Am I doing it right? How are you still breathing with my hands all over your heart? How do we start healing if we can't keep out the dark? Are you for real? Tough love. Do you want to feel tough love? This could be real tough love. I don't know where Genius got their specific lyrics source from, but I will point out there's a comma in that last, this could be real tough, comma, love, which makes sense to me. I don't know if that's an official interpretation or this person's interpretation, but it feels correct. So it's this thing of like being used to pushing people away. You know, I've been trying to hurt you, I've been holding you tight is a contradiction, but it feels like kind of trying to unlearn the self-hatred of thinking you don't deserve love, because then it's, I've been learning to love you, am I doing it right? Like trying to relearn how to be in a relationship like this. And then, how are you still breathing with my hands all over your heart? How do we start healing if we can't keep out the dark? It feels like he's saying, how are you not exhausted by me? How do you not want me to leave already? How is this still working out? But then, how do we start healing if we can't keep out the dark is a general reflection on on like how do we move on from our problems if the problems are still there. And then we get that are you for real tough love, like it's saying like do you really think that tough love is a real thing, right? Do you want to feel tough love? Like that's not that's not what I want. And then this could be real tough love, like this is a hard process, this relationship, but the emphasis on the word love, we're gonna do it, we're gonna get through it. And you get the Laura Marling verse, I've been feeding your fear, you've been keeping me thin, I've been trying my best to feel you near without me disappearing. How do you still see me with my hands all over your eyes? When your friends come calling, do they ask you with a sigh, are you for real tough love? Do you want to feel tough love? This could be real tough love. This is what made me take a bit to understand this song, because it felt just overall real depressing, but it feels like the charitable interpretation of it is like this person also voicing their insecurities, right? I've been feeding your fear, you've been keeping me thin, is emphasizing a bad relationship, but it seems to be, again, voicing these insecurities and not actually what's happening, right? And then I've been trying my best to feel you near without me disappearing. I'm trying to retain my own personality without it just disappearing into this relationship. And then how do you still see me with my hands all over your eyes? Like I'm trying to stop you from seeing me. How are you still seeing me, you know? When your friends come calling, do they ask you with a sigh? So like the idea of other people not understanding either why they're keeping up this relationship. The rest of the lyrics are just the chorus repeated. It's a very interesting thing because you can interpret it as a really unhealthy relationship. You can interpret it as a one-sided relationship. You can interpret it as two people who have been in bad relationships trying to recover and make a good relationship together. There's lots of different ways you can read this song, which I think is quite interesting. I prefer to think of the most optimistic version, of course, but you could read it in a number of ways. And I'm sure if you have your own personal association with these topics, you would read it in that specific way. You know what I mean? I think the only other thing I really want to say is about the harmonies at the end, specifically the are you for real tough love? Do you wanna feel tough love? I love that little bit, the little run there. The start of the Mahogany videos, them trying to teach that bit to Florence Pugh and her being like, oh god. But yeah, no, I love this song. I love the way it sounds. Really got to check out the rest of their stuff. And I encourage you to do the same, dear listener. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I don't have much else to say. I just love this song. Please hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, tell people about this show, tell people to listen to it. Please, I'm starving. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
They did an acoustic session version of this song with Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh. Tell people about this show. Tell people to listen to it. Please, I'm starving. Oh, how it's been so long. We're so sorry we've been gone, but we were busy writing songs for you. Jesus Christ. Am I ever going to do a Panic song on this show? Probably at some point. Just do high hopes to piss people off.